21st of February. Congratulations if you survived Valentine's Day.
Oh, no shit, man.
Pawz One Podcast.
How you folks doing?
You don't see Pawz, do you? He's low-key just behind me. Nah, but Pawz is actually not here for the week. He is enjoying very much deserved rest. It's tiring being out here dealing with so much fuckery. You know what I'm saying? On a daily basis. I don't know how I'd do it if it wasn't for this weed. But we are here today with our amazing guest, somebody that very near and dear to your boy's heart, my man Cisco Streetlenz.
How's it going, folks? How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Now, for y'all who don't know who my man is right here, photographer extraordinaire. I mean, we'll start there, okay? I'll tell a quick story. I met Cisco a long time ago at a hip-hop show that I was performing at. And he was right there with his homie who was performing as well. We were just, they're in the same place, same time type of thing. I get off stage and my man walks up and he's like, yo, man, can I take some flicks of you? And just when he says that, Shock G slides in between me and the homie with a Corona in his mouth looking fucking cracked the fuck out. And my man takes a classic picture off that, man. We still got that shot too.
Peace to Guru, man.
Yeah, man. And then we got the blessing of blessings of blessings is we got my man Guru, you know what I'm saying, to take a picture. And that was done by my man as well. And that's crazy because that was the beginning of a relationship now, man. I've known my dude here for about 14, 15 years, man.
Something like that, man. It's been
a minute. Bro, that's crazy. So I have the amazing pleasure of finally getting to introduce y'all to somebody who I think is dope. My man Cisco.
How y'all doing, folks? And again, I think this man is dope, period.
I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you.
And it's just not an acquaintance and shit. It's somebody I've known for years and we communicate.
Yeah, man.
Might not be on a daily might not be on a daily basis and shit, but
almost though.
Yeah, but it's family though.
You know what's crazy? This social media shit actually keeps us pretty close.
Right.
Right. That's funny because I met you right when social media started to be the wave.
Exactly.
And I think that's always aided in you and me being across fucking counties and always being able to like communicate and be cool. Sandy, what's good? I see you, girl. Sandy, big homegirl of the fucking podcast, man. We love her here.
All right.
Actually, she got a video right now. She in a video with my man, Got a Reef, man, and Mr. CR. Y'all need to fucking tap in. That shit is tight. But let me get back to my man, Cisco. Let the people know, where does Cisco come from? Who is Cisco?
Oh shit, you gonna get philosophy?
Just give them the raw. Like, okay, we're born, raised Los Angeles. Let them know. Let them know.
General Hospital, 1972. I don't exactly know which room and shit, but
step a little bit more to the mic.
I don't know exactly where, but which room and shit, but General Hospital, 1972. South Central Los Angeles, all I gotta say and shit. And like I tell folks, this is my saying and shit, is South Central sewer water runs through these veins and shit.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You actually have always said that as long as I know you, yo.
And that's my thing and shit, man. But yeah, South Central, man. 87th and Main, which is Manchester and Main.
Yes, sir.
Out there in LA, which now Popeyes resides, Burger Palace, Green Meadows Park. Shout out to everybody out there and shit, all the homies that we grew up with, homies that we lost.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They're a part of me still and shit. And because of them, that's who I am now and still.
Yeah, facts. And what's dope is that, like, when I met you, I knew you was from the town. Right, I knew it. I knew, I met Sire and I was like, okay, Sire, he from out of town. Shout out to Sire.
Shout out to my boy Sire.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Sire. I knew he was from out of town and he was making waves out here. Then I met you, but I was like, I don't know, man. Something about my dude ring different. And then we had a show. I want to say like couple weeks, couple months later, where we met who was it, man? From Sons of Man.
Oh yeah, Prodigal Son.
It was Prodigal Son, right? Yeah, yo. And then Prodigal, we took shots of that, and my man pulled up, and it's like, yo, always on for the culture. I've really never met anybody who shows up, shows and proves, takes flicks of who he thinks is dope, regardless if it's like, yo, let me do this to get the clout of fucking with this artist, or let me add this person to the portfolio. It ain't none about that shit. It's like, yo, I like your shit. Let me come out and make you look good.
Like my lens is selective. My lens is selective and shit, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't pull it off for nobody and shit, you know.
I mean, you can. You know, hey, we gotta teach the kids that. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you might get in trouble if you do it, shit, you know.
That's a fact.
My lens is selective because it's the shit that I dig. When I first met my man, the reason I stepped up to him because the shit that was spitting on that stage, man, it caught me and shit. I'm like, I can resonate with this shit.
I appreciate it.
And to me, that shit was dope, man. So, of course, anybody else would have been out there, oh, cool, whatever, and shit. So, but I felt you and shit. You my man up there and shit, right?
Yeah.
Reservoir Dingles.
Yeah.
I still recall, brother. So, I heard this cat flow was ridiculous. Not only that, man, the storytelling, the content, the selection of beats that they used and shit. God damn, it
was definitely a dope moment.
Yeah, man. And that's what I capture as moments, man. And like I said, I'll tell you earlier and shit. So when I get dementia, 10 years from now, or whatever,
you're gonna have a whole memory jog like man, ready for you, man.
You don't understand the amount of, because I like to capture where I've been and
right.
And I remember the emotions that I felt when I was there at that situation and shit, be it either rowdy or whatever, but to me, the interactions that I get from this art form and shit, and the medium that I use and shit, I love it because of that. Aside from the images that I capture and shit, the way I see you, I like to capture like that and shit. But I think the interaction to me is like the interaction with folks is like the most beautiful thing to me. Shit about photography and shit.
Right, and it's dope because I think you base it a lot too on the vibe you get off the person.
Right.
You know, which I think it adds passion. You know. Right. Like definitely, because I mean, I've seen you apply the same eye to someone you just met for a street corner photography session,
right,
to an artist that you have a relationship with, and I find that, you know, in some regards, I find that rare because I know for a lot of people who do the visual side of things, you know, it's a job, right? You know, and it's like, is the artistry involved as much? I can't speak on it because I'm not too deep in that world.
Right.
But, you know, like seeing you, I feel like there are those that take their craft that serious. We know a few, you know, if right. You, I know, you know, like, you know, we know quite a few actually. Shout out to the homie Mud. Shout out to the homie Moby.
Yeah.
You know,
I see their work, man.
Yeah. Both of them cats work, work, you know, so.
And I see their, and I really dig the cats that came out then, and not that they just came out. They've been out there. They've been about their business and shit with this photography. So when I see home with Mobius and shit, I peep you guys and shit. You guys are dope, man. Sometimes I get really vocal and appreciate folks. Sometimes you lay back in the cut and I peep your shit, and
that's enough in itself, though.
Yeah, man.
That's enough in itself. The fact that you could say, "Yo, I fuck with y'all and I see your work."
I see they work, man. Yeah. And much props to you guys, man. There's a lot of cats that I really dig that are out now and shit.
I mean, you know what's crazy, Cisco? Like, I saw a pic of yours where you took a shot at Esteban Oriol.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy, bro, because I hold you in that regard.
Oh, man, thanks. I appreciate that. That cat.
Like, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, you know, we look at people like him, and there's another cat out the Venice area, man. He always says something, you're amazing. Block photo.
I think.
You seen Block Photo? I love it because every one of his posts, he always puts at the end, Block Photo, you're amazing. I'm like, yo, that's the fuck I'm talking about, man.
Self-recognition, brother.
Yeah, man, you got to do it sometimes.
That's a thing in the philosophy I hold dear and shit is.
Let me ask you a question. With all the shit that was going on, right? You know, the last year had, in my opinion, a lot of moments where a lens was necessary. Right. Like, you know, obviously COVID started, and it was like, I remember seeing you starting to take pictures of landscapes out there. Right. And like starting to do that. Now, when everything started popping off, you know, like protests and everything, you know, did you feel the need automatically, like when you saw movement happening, to go out and document? Like, how did it feel for you when you saw all of that?
I actually stepped back and observed. I see what these younger cats had to say. I mean, that we're looking at.
Yeah.
And I took a moment to look at their work and shit, and see, because a lot of people took that as there's people out there, so I could take mad images and shit, right? And I'm not talking about anybody in specific, but I noticed that a lot of cats were out there. It's a moment, but it was necessary because they have to document this moment from every angle and shit, right? So I felt that important. So when I seen them out there, I joined a couple of
Right there.
I was there at a couple of protests and whatnot and walks, but I let the youth speak at this point.
That's dope.
Because I actually sat back and I watched them because they're active.
Now, let me ask you something. Like, you know, seeing the youth speak, right? Like, did you have any like young photographers hit you when all of that was happening? Like, hey, you know, any tips or like any like?
Not only just from this, but a lot. I communicate with a lot of photographers and a lot of artists too. Be it in music, other creative mediums and shit that they use. Be it painting, everything. I communicate with a lot of folks, man, and I like to push because.
So they say peace to you out there, man. Say Cubo Cisco, peace Cisco.
Brown Magic, what's up, guys? How you doing, brother? Much love to you, man. Like I said, I wish you well, man. You doing good things out there, man. Handle your family and shit. You good? And dope cat. He picks up cameras and shit and spins the shit out of them oldies and shit. I love my man. I have a natural. But getting back to the youth, man. I like to. I'm an older cat, right? I'm 48. And I've seen some things and shit, and I've been through some things and shit. So whenever somebody asks me, I do give them time to rap and shit. And I converse with a lot of folks and shit. And we, you know, folks from back east. You know, I talk to so many people and shit. Not that LA doesn't give me love, but back east gives me a lot of love and shit.
I think because they recognize that aesthetic, though.
It might be that.
I have a big feeling it's that because there's a particular look that you excel at creating.
It's how I see things, man. And my eye was curated by the streets and shit and where I grew up.
That's beautiful. You know, on that, you know, one thing I will say, you know, like you are an artist, you know what I'm saying, photographer, a well-spoken gentleman, you know what I'm saying, who's out here. And, you know, a lot of people don't even know, you know, that you come from these streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and if you follow my man on social media, and if you don't, you should immediately. He always drops bars, man. I mean, yo, I love it when you be like, man, Bob, check that chin, you know what I'm saying? Take you back home to mama, because Cisco love the kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo.
And that's one thing, man. Cisco loves the kids, man.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I get gritty with that, man. The vernacular and shit was from the schoolyards.
Yeah, but you know what? I guess my whole point to that is like, yo, all of that aside, man, like, one of the most chill Zen people I know. Shit, you know what I mean? Yeah, but it's like, but obviously it wasn't easy to get to that Zen. It, you know, like that takes a lifetime of, you know,
of experiences and shit, and again from interactions with people and shit.
Yeah,
I pick up so much from people. I picked up a lot of shit from you, a lot of older cats, younger cats too and shit, man.
Yeah.
I'm a sponge. I absorb all that shit. It just when I put it out, I may not say it, but I see you. I mean, I really do see you and shit, you know?
That's right. That's right.
It's for the fact that I'm in photography, and I actually look at you when I'm either talking to you prior to the photo shoot and shit like that, because I want to see who you are and shit. And the thing is, if we don't connect, man, you can't give me yourself for what I'm trying to do and shit. And I need you to be so comfortable. So when we get this rap down, then we can shoot, because if not, you're just in front of another stranger and shit that you know on social media and shit.
Yeah, I hear that.
And
well, you know, the interesting thing to me was I saw how you got a lot of your subject matter in the beginning from your ear, right? Because you were out at these shows, and it was like, you know, if I had a show, I'll tell you come out, you see some other cats, you know, like it's crazy. I remember you had come to one of the shows out in Long Beach, right?
And that shit was dope. Yeah.
And that was where I met Pawz.
Oh, is that right? That one?
Yeah. Trip out on that.
Analyzer?
Yeah. Exactly.
Man,
exactly. You met Analyzer. That's a cat
Yeah.
known almost equally as long now as well.
Yeah, I know you a little bit
another
longer,
dope
but
MC, another dope cat too.
A dope mind too, man.
Yeah, deep dude. Yeah, facts. Shout out to Analyzer, actually, man. I haven't
man.
Yeah, when's the last time you spoke to him?
He's up and around. He's staying busy. He's always into that.
That's right.
That's it. It's his heart and shit. Expressing himself and dropping jewels is his heart and shit, man. we sat back and we rapped a lot and shit, man.
You know, it's crazy because like just looking back at that time frame,
Yeah.
shit, you were right there when like the IE started to really become a presence.
Not a
You know, and like really push like people. I remember you showed me a really old video with Noah in it.
Oh, I'm in there. Me and
Yeah,
my son.
that's what I'm saying though. And we're talking like, what year was that? 09?
09, I think, something like that.
That's what I'm saying, dude. And you look at like where the movement is right now. You know,
Yeah,
you see
yeah.
cats shining. I love it.
Right.
You know, everybody's grind is crazy. You know, it's like now that you kind of got to respect it across the state. Like,
Right.
I found great music in every pocket of the state now, which is really dope because I couldn't say that a decade plus back.
Right, man, and there's so much new art and talent that's out in this shit. Yeah, we've got cats that are trying to be instant and shit, and they do get to shine because obviously it's trendy and shit. Which is dope.
Yeah.
But these cats that are really up there grinding and shit and been in there for years, putting up their work to be heard, I really appreciate those cats, man, and I like to shout them out. I'm always about supporting other people and shit. If we can't do it monetarily, give them a like and give them a share and shit. You know,
Give them some love.
I always share. I like to share with other folks what I dig in other people and shit.
Yeah.
It's the least I can do.
Yeah.
Because my eye and my ear are always open to any new thing. Yeah, I'm an old cat, man, and I don't like this new shit, this and that.
Right.
My man, we get through those times and shit, man, but there's actually dope art being pushed right now.
Yeah,
shit,
you know what? Like, shit. I know you love soul music, right?
My
Like,
man.
Where do you see soul music these days? Who do you like right now? Is there anybody you like tapped into, fell into, stumbled across that you're like, damn, that's a dope soul act in 2021?
Man, and right now the shit escapes me, man, because I'm so into a lot of new shit that's out.
Yeah. But what
and-
you into? That's a better question. What you into right now?
The music, I love this new 45 record resurgence and shit that they're
Yes,
putting out
that
right
is
now.
a fact. I haven't seen that.
I love
yet.
these people, and for what they're doing. As you know, back in the day, I used to play with my brother-in-law. We make record and shit like that too.
Yeah.
And we used to record either funk, blues, R&B, and shit like that. And I always had this, even in the '90s and shit, man. Like I used to say, I dig music the way it was, and I would really love to hear that same organic, live recording style of music today,
Right.
which was in the '90s stuff. Because I recall back in the days when I used to look at old shows and shit, and then they'd have the Temptations on and shit, right?
Yeah.
Amazing group. But then they would have these electrical keyboards and shit, Casios, and then the guitar would sound really crisp and clear. I'm like, can you go back to those old amps?
The warmth from old
man.
records,
And,
yeah.
and that shit's coming up now and shit, man.
True.
Where cats are actually playing like that, man.
True.
And there's so much soul out there right now, man. If you really go in there, I mean, it's not hard to find. You just, if that's not your genre, go into new soul tracks that are being produced. And the way they're going about it and shit, man. To me, that's amazing. Like the new stuff that's coming out, man. I really do dig it, man. And it's a lot. I mean, so
It's a dope feeling to see it,
yeah,
huh? Like
man.
really come back.
Because I wish that I had and shit is actually happening and shit, man.
Yeah, man, I hear that. I mean, like I remember having conversations where it's like, you see it move in a cycle, and it's usually a couple decades or so. It's like, both from rap, both from
Right.
soul, R&B, a little bit of everything right now is like really on point.
You know what?
A lot of shit isn't missing. You know what I mean?
I've had these conversations, man, where just like you said, there's cycles and shit. There's certain generations and shit. You got the jazz era and shit, right?
Yeah.
We're saying, like, for me, like the jazz era that really hits me is like maybe like 57 onto like 65.
Yeah, that's a lot of heat. That's a lot.
It's a certain era and shit, because then it started changing and shit. Even Coltrane started changing. We go through there, then we go through the James Brown soul era and shit. 68, going on to maybe 74 and shit like that. Yeah,
Maybe,
but
yeah.
77 you start going more disco and shit, right?
Yeah,
So-
everybody.
And also we had these pockets of situations that were happening everywhere and shit.
Right.
Not only through music, even through activism, through poetry, through photography, and fashion. All these pockets happen and shit. It's like back in the days when they had these gatherings between artists and shit. Like Mexico had a big bohemian situation with.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. But I mean, what I love about Mexico has crazy artistic shifts.
We're known for our vision, man.
It's like what, maybe like every 25 years or so, there's a big wave that comes.
Exactly.
And like even right now, you hear like the rap scene, and you see how everything is moving down there, and you already know it's gonna smack back with a whole lot of shit over here. It's gonna get copied.
That shit, man. Like I said, I'm open, man. I see a lot of shit.
True.
I see a lot of shit happening, and I dig it.
Yeah.
And I noticed like in photography, a lot of younger cats, they're getting into film photography, right? Which is dope.
Right, more motion than like static shots, right?
Well, I think the love of the process of the old school shit, is what they dig a lot. So they push for that, right?
I hear that.
But then again, if you stay stuck on that, and remember everything changes and shit, even photography, even the equipment used and shit, right? Back then, you use these tintypes, these print on glass and whatnot, and then when the say for instance the rangefinders, and then later on the SLRs came out. They came out, so it's a progression and shit to capture the shit you did and shit, right? So like a lot of times, what would a writer do if he's like, I want to stay classic and shit, right? Which a lot of my phrases, but if I have to capture shit with the technology of the day, I'll do it and shit, right? You know? So I don't fault nobody for using digital and shit like that, because I use it too. But we have to progress too to capture it. I mean, back then you used to have to write a book on, writing it on paper and shit. Then you could type it. And then came the computers.
And now you could say it into your fucking phone
and it'll spell it out.
Here we go.
So we have to progress in that way, man. And
that's a fact.
I tell folks, if they get back to I only use film and this and that, that's dope. The process is dope. Trust me, I understand it. I understand that film is porous and they can absorb like different than digital. I completely understand it, but a dope image is a dope image.
I'm saying, that's one thing. I think, but see, every aesthetic has its like there's audio files, right?
Right. Oh,
you know? And I have homies that it's not even about how good it sounds, it's how clean it sounds. And I'm like, okay, well, shit, you have a particular ear, motherfucker. I don't have that ear.
Yeah.
My ear, I just wanted to sound dope. Like when you said that warmth that used to get in the 60s, right? That started getting more and more watered down in the 70s and then became synthesized in the 80s, is exactly like what people sometimes don't see in the music. People are just thinking, oh, the mixes got better.
Right.
But it's like, nah, man.
I think that about... Like my favorite artist in the whole world is Jimi Hendrix and shit.
Oh man, that's word though, Jimmy, huh?
Jimmy is my actual favorite artist in the whole world.
That's fucking crazy. Can I know why?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you do. Trip. Back in the days and shit, they didn't like to push out too many bootlegs because of the sound.
Right.
I don't give a fuck.
Right.
If he sung if he played in a bar somewhere, man, and somebody had a fucking
whatever. Back then it was like a refrigerator, right?
Whatever you could carry, I would want to hear whatever he had to play and shit, regardless of shit. But with it has to be sonically acceptable and shit, this and that. I'm like, no, whatever he played and shit. If they recorded him on a potato, I want to hear it and shit. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn about that, man. But yeah, I mean, I'm like that about photography too.
Yeah.
If you could take a dope image with a brick, use a fucking brick,
Right.
I tell folks that and shit, let's not get caught up too much on I gotta have the latest camera, the latest lens and shit like that.
Right.
If you got iPhone, a 110 camera, whatever, if you got
and
that
some
shit,
do.
take the goddamn image, man, because and don't restrict yourself to certain lighting if it's not available to you and shit. Capture the goddamn image.
Big
brother.
facts. Like how modern shit these days, right? You look at the screen and you could get the option for a lot of things where it shows you when it's too bright and you get that black and white line.
Right.
Right? And they'll be like, no, you don't want that. You don't want that, right?
Right.
I don't give a fuck.
fuck, I'll fucking take the
Yeah,
picture if I like it, because
Yeah, I mean-
process it a little bit, and it's like, yo,
and that, because when I met you years ago, man, like I said, I borrowed a camera because with my homeboy Siren shit, we go, hey, let's go to a show real quick and shit. You know, you pick me up and shit. We go, and I always carry the point and shoot digital camera on me.
right.
And I started snapping shows and shit like that, and just with him, or either hanging out because I was always visual and shit too.
Yeah.
Sonically, I'm always open to and shit. So I used to just like to snap and shit because it's the moment also and shit. I thought about it like that.
Right.
So my homeboy started saying, "Oh, what are you're going places?" I said, "Yeah, my man out here taking me to these spots and shit, I'm meeting people and shit." He's like, "Hey, I just got this Nikon D40 and shit." It's like 2008, 2007 or some shit. It's about 2007 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I went and borrowed, and I have it on auto and shit. So I'm shooting shows and shit, not knowing where I'm supposed to be at. I'm only shooting on auto. Didn't know that I couldn't capture shit in low light. But I'm shooting because I love it and shit, right?
Right.
And then a while later of me shooting, I actually my shit gets picked by my homeboy the Sire. They featured him in Rhyme magazine, and it's up there. I'm like, and then a couple of pages over, Esteban's in there. I'm like, oh, come on,
Man.
that was dope to me, man.
And that came, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Organically, it wasn't, you know what I mean?
Right.
But
And-
see, that's dope because the image obviously caught the attention to make that happen.
Right. And the thing is, I really dig it, man. And sonically, when I hear shit, I visualize shit, and vice versa and shit. So
Yeah.
when I'm taking images of people, there's always music in my head too. So
Right.
it has a lot to do with it. Because my start because even if I haven't been doing photography for that long, say 15, whatever years I've been doing it,
Right.
my love for the imagery has always been there since I was a kid.
Right. And I mean, if I recall correctly, you had told me once that it had a lot to do with old vinyl covers.
Oh yeah, man, most definitely.
See, that's what I'm saying. Was there a particular one that you remember was like, oh, damn.
You know what, man? I used to like the back covers also because, or either the gatefolds and shit, because I used to love the studio shots. I mean, say for instance, Linda McCartney for the Electric Ladyland album, and shit,
Okay.
shooting Jimmy in the background. And
That's
shit
a
like that.
wild cover. I know the cover.
Yeah. So, and I used to dig. Bob Dylan had a girlfriend too that used to shoot a lot of his shit like Free Willing and shit like that. And when I seen that aesthetic was dope, man. And then jazz album covers, of course, Love Supreme by Coltrane is. That's well, if you know
That's a
it,
heavy one.
If
That's
you
a
know
heavy.
it, that's how I shoot a lot of shit. It's not that I'm doing it on purpose. It's just it's coming out like that, man. And I really dig that kind of aesthetic.
Right.
So it's visual and it's sonic and shit. When I sit back with somebody and do, say for instance, a street portrait, I'm looking at light because lights look like the most important thing. And sonically, I got something in my ear and shit, man. And it
Right.
mellows me out because I go back into that when I'm doing that.
So there's literally like an audio concept when you're coming up with a visual concept.
Right.
See, that's a dope translation.
Music is in my head constantly right now.
That's
shit,
fresh.
man.
Yo, tell folks like about some of the projects you've done for those who don't know, because you've obviously done a few street portrait series, Streetlenz series.
Right.
Where, you know, you've actually taken a subject matter or subjects and you've
Right.
created a photo series. What do you got with that? Like, what are the names of some of them and how can they
Well,
find some of them? Because I know a lot's on your Instagram, obviously.
They're in there, man. And like I said, I've never completed one and actually put it out to say this is this series and shit. Because I'm constantly working on new shit, right?
Yeah.
And right now, the one I'm working on is particularly this one here, which is These Hands, the Souls of South Central and shit.
I see, and there you go. That's the hand subject.
Yeah.
I remember you had done the chair session.
Oh, that was amazing, man.
Right? I
And-
remember you even had one where it was like feet. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And it was just like, you know, certain subjects that are vulnerable, like hands say a lot.
Well, my concept of that, because in photography, the eyes and the hands are really important to me and shit. So I think I'm chopping up right here.
Yeah, it's just right here. I think what it is, you just got to get a little bit closer to
Okay,
it.
there we go.
See, look right there. And if you get out too much,
Yeah.
you know, like,
It's reaching and shit.
yeah. So I was trying to catch that angle where you're
Yeah,
talking at,
right,
so you
right.
try to get as much of it as possible.
Okay, so as far as the hands, like I said, they hold so much character.
Yeah.
And to me, it's important. Hands are really important to how I see not only women but other men and shit. Because growing up, the streets was vicious and shit, right? So before we were able to, have a little 380 or a 22 and shit revolver and shit, we had to get down and shit, right?
Yeah.
So, say for instance, you're in school, and folks are beefing, and somebody has kind of called you out and shit that you got to go out there and meet at the train tracks and shit to get down.
Yeah.
I always looked at your hands and shit.
Yeah.
Because if you look like you've been hitting bricks, man, I mean, you gonna do some damage.
Right.
So that's how, and then we gauge other men by that too, and the contact that we have, with the hand to fist bump and shit like that. And these things I hold dear and shit because my pops taught me a lot about that kind of shit of gauging other men. Plus the streets taught me that too and shit, and we gauge each other by, if somebody gives an excessively hard handshake, it's because they kind of. Yeah, they're trying to give you a false sense of who they are and shit. Mm-hmm. Yo, I'm bad. So So they
let them know. Let them know.
So
that's real shit.
It's really hard to get that exact pressure and that feel and that handshake from another man.
Right.
To be like, all right, this cat's real and shit. But when somebody's being excessive and shit, like, what's up, man? Like, shit, you scared of me.
like why? There's always like an ego. There's a lot of ego in a handshake.
Ego is a motherfucker, man, in everything, in the streets and art, everything. Mm-hmm. It's the collapse of a lot of men too and shit. No,
man, that's a bar. It's true. It's something that Pawz and I always have those discussions,
right?
Because we're not far behind you. You know what I'm saying?
No,
we're about a half a generation behind you,
right?
And it's crazy to grow up in between that transition phase because it literally comes from your generation to the youth.
Right.
There's probably 2 in between generations happening right now, and you look at them and you're like, damn, that's crazy. We really were some of the last out here playing on the streets.
Yeah.
We really were some of the last that your entire afternoon was out just doing some other shit outdoors. I see children, whether it's my friends, my own, or all of that, just what I see on social media.
Right.
It's all right here now.
Yeah. I mean,
it's all right here, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
We
just have to learn how to really adapt to it and shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because there's a balance.
Because we were stuck on TV when we were kids and shit, but.
That's what I mean. So it's like, how did we work that out? Like, I'll be like, all right, cool, you want to be on devices? Cool, but we don't go outside though and do that.
Yeah.
And eventually the sun's going to fuck up their vision.
Yeah,
and then they're going to be like, whatever with this shit.
No, man, because look, we had, say for instance, the after school specials and shit we used to watch on TV. Get home from school, what is it, the bowl of cereal and sitting in front of the shit. Now they don't. They're on and it's portable to them. So now if they're going to get up from eating their cereal, now they're walking to the bathroom with the phone on them.
The hygiene issues involved in all of that, right?
I understand, man, but shit.
Yeah. Well, look, one thing that I believe, like, all right, for example, I think your character, right, plus your love of things, really translates through your photography. I think what's even doper is that across the years, I have seen a consistency, regardless of the instrument, in your look. And before we got here, we were walking around to get some beer, and we were chopping it up. And what stood out to me was, how effortless some things are.
Yeah.
And it's like you and how you take your photography, it's effortless because at the end, like, you want everybody to look like that first cover.
Yeah.
That's dope.
The thing is with that, man, there's always I hold intention, like, it's like really important in my photography and shit.
Yeah.
I'm not out there to have everybody say, wow, this dude's the greatest and shit, nothing like that. It's actually what when I see an image, if I didn't even share it, man, it's something that still I really dig, man.
Right.
So if I take time, I say, my man, what's up, man? And I start rapping to folks. I'm very vocal out in the streets and shit. But again, my lens is selective and shit. So if I see you and I do hit you up and shit, I dig either the energy that you're giving out.
Yeah.
Not specifically, your look is, but if you give out an energy, man, and a certain light hits you, I say, my man, look, okay, I hit this and shit real quick.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, yeah, I rarely get, shot down about hitting somebody while I'm on the streets.
Right.
And yeah, but it's intention, man, because I base it on the moment, and then there's always music in my head at the same time and shit. So if I see something that's dope, I'll hit you up, And it's not necessarily street photography. 'Cause I think street photography is kind of, you're taking an image from, you put yourself away from that situation. I dig street portraits the most because of the interaction. Because if I'm being selfish, because I gain something from it too, just from the interactions and shit.
But that's natural.
No, yeah.
Give and take, right? So it's like,
but I'm honest about it and shit.
right, from the outright intent.
Yeah,
like, hey,
outright and shit. Because I've had, I mean, hell, I'm 5'5" and shit. Let me put a half inch on there, 5'5" and a half and shit. 180 pounds or whatever and shit. Maybe a little bit more because I've been grubbing and shit. But
that's everybody's code.
There's a thing that I think that fear situation of other men and shit like that was pulled out of me and shit, because I never felt that being in that short man situation that that Chihuahua issue and shit.
Yeah.
But it's been like that for me. So situations like that never stopped me from doing a lot of shit as far as confronting or being in situations with other men. So I think that goes along with my photography and shit, how I could step to somebody and actually, my man, this and that. This is a dope situation that we're rapping here and shit.
Yeah.
So let me capture this moment and shit.
That's dope.
Because it's more than just, I'm gonna get this and hit it on Instagram and shit. And that's cool, man. But
I like
my actual reasoning for that is because I want to capture this moment. I think this is dope.
Yeah.
And before or after this shot, I mean, just the interaction.
Yeah.
It's the dopest thing to me, man. I really dig that. I dig folks, man, like crazy and shit. And I dig stories, man. That kind of shit, man. That's so beautiful to me.
We've chopped up that so many times, man. And it's dope because I've seen you move around the music scenes. It's not singular, It's not relegated to hip hop in Los Angeles, the Inland Empire, the Orange County, anywhere in California or anything or outside. It's literally everywhere, man.
Right.
I've seen you do a little bit of everything. I've seen you run into folks I know on your own in other ways.
Yeah.
Just being out here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, shit, before all of this, obviously, and through shows and everything, would you go places, get recognized because of your photography and everything?
After I started, like maybe in the IE, because I was doing a lot of flyers.
Yeah.
CD covers for folks and shit,
and graphic, printing, everything. Yeah, man, I remember.
I remember I was at this pawn shop, camera shop and shit, man, and I wasn't at that point like social media savvy and shit like that. And some cat, I think I'm looking at some lenses and shit at the pawn shop, and this cat hits me up. Hey, you're Cisco, right? I'm like, this is early in the game and shit. I'm like, yeah. He goes, you do that dope photography and shit. I'm like, thanks, man. How the fuck you know me and shit?
That's right.
Because I'm usually behind the lens, man. And he's like, yeah, your shit is dope, man. This and that. I'm like, I do photography too, man. But I've been watching your work. I'm like, how the hell you watch my shit? Because you would probably only see Cisco, Streetlenz and shit, or whatever and shit. But you would rarely see my image and shit, man. And cat hit me up.
It did take you a while. No, that's true. No, people don't even know how humble you are. It did take you a while because for a long time, just like on the Streetlenz photography,
right,
it's literally the lens.
Yeah.
You took the person out of it for so long, but I think that the moment that you just started to really show you in there a little bit more, eased in there, it took on a whole other, like now it's so. I love the fact that when I met you, this was not your primary thing,
right.
You've had a whole ass career throughout all of this, and you've done a lot of hustling and side work and everything, because that's what we do out here, right? But now it's your full on art, and your art is what you live on, and and people are giving you your flowers and pursue you for your talent, man. That I always from fucking day one, man. I told you it was bad.
Right.
I told you were a bad man. Come on.
You know what, man, and going, because you know me and shit. And I remember I got a call from you, man, one time. This is in 2015. You know what I'm talking about. I had a loss in my life and shit, man. That really impacted me. Of course, Pawz.
Man, that's a titan, man.
Pops was like a catalyst for a lot of people as far as he wasn't a hands-on artist that much. I mean, he used to build furniture sometimes and shit when he was off, you know. But when we were kids in the 70s and early 80s and shit, my pops worked at a junkyard.
Okay.
So the things that he would find in these vehicles and shit, man. Of course, he found a lot of guns. My house was filled with guns when we were kids and shit.
Word?
Yeah. He
Yo,
used to find guns at the pad. And we had all kinds of rifles and guns and shit at the pad.
And that's because these cars are coming from like in
crashes
or
now remember,
abandoned.
this is like 79, you know, shit like that.
The shit was rowdy.
Along with that, he would find guitars, congos, and all kinds of instruments, man. I had amps, old tube amps that he would bring in. He always, so he was, what he told me back then and shit, which is kind of funny and shit. He goes, when I was in school, the guitarists got the girls and shit. You know? So he used to try to push that on us and shit. But he pushed drawing, he pushed painting, all kinds of shit on us, man. And we didn't realize it back then, but we had a whole shitload of stuff at the pad, man, that we could pick up and make music with. And then, as far as photography goes, like we had record players and shit, and we had a shitload of vinyl and shit, right? You know, we used to look at. So back then, when we played a record, I read the whole thing through and through. So I got to know producers at a young age. Record labels, photographers.
So you started to understand the game.
Yeah, this is early.
Very
and shit,
high
man.
key.
This is early and shit, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I remember my pops and my mom's closet and shit in their bedroom. There's a milk crate full of cameras and shit, 35 millimeter, 110s, Polaroids, all kinds of shit in there.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't conceive that I could produce the shit that I dug visually and shit, because there's nobody actually pushing me towards that. But that love for that, I think it's always been in me since those days and shit, man. So I dig that. So I used to draw shit like that, paint, stuff like that. My pops used to push that shit too. But then I think through growing up, I just still kept looking at it because I was a child of PBS, Channel 28 back in the day.
Same here.
I loved all that shit. I even had a pen pal, man, from Michigan way back in the day.
Word, that's a forgotten thing right there.
Yeah,
bro.
man.
Real talk. Yeah, I mean now it exists, you know, because of the way things are.
Yeah. So
you know, you can play a video game with somebody in Japan or like Europe every day, and like that's your folks.
You couldn't even conceive that shit back in the day.
Right. It would take instantaneously, which is bananas, man.
So growing up into junior high and shit, when shit started getting crazy, you know, remember I'm, you know, junior, what, 85, about 84, 85, 86 and shit. So the crack era, you know, Rick Ross was a couple blocks away from us and shit, right, where I grew up.
Word.
And I've always had that love for art in me, but the streets didn't see it, you know, as something,
right?
You know, as far as I didn't, where I, you know, my little patch of folks that I hung out with and shit. So I dug jazz, and then to the Beatles, Jimi Hendrix, Marvin Gaye, Al Green was big at the pad. Love that cat.
Hell yeah, same here. Yeah,
and
same here.
I still play guitar a little bit. And I used to draw, but being drawn into the streets and shit, I used to keep that to myself now. My selected partners knew that I did this shit at the pad, but when they come over, I put on the hip hop shit. You know, which is
because shit is rough out here, and it's
right.
I hear you.
And we got to soldier up, and anything that might make you seem soft, you have to
You
cancel.
just had to. You don't know nothing about that.
Right. So it got to that point, but I always loved imagery, music, man. That it had a big hold in my life and shit, man. And being involved with gangs and shit back in those times and shit, we were heavy like in 87, 88, 89.
Right.
And
another wild era.
Another wild era for me,
Facts.
man. So where I grew up at and shit, right? It was a predominantly black neighborhood and shit. There were a few Mexican families, Chicanos and shit, Salvadorans and shit like that. But shit started changing. Shit got crazy. You had to carry a 20, 22, shit, a 380. We didn't have no big gun and shit like that, shotgun or whatever and shit. But survival mode was there and shit. And then, you know what, man? And we kind of chose, even though we had to, we kind of chose it too. We embraced it and shit because now rap music, gangster rap came in. So, gangster rap made me do it. That kind of shit.
Yeah, I hear you. But it's funny how factual that is, though.
No, and it is, man, because hell,
became an anthem to the madness you're living.
I wouldn't have been sipping on 8-Ball if it wasn't for Easy English.
Okay. Right. So
because,
the product placement was real.
It was perfect at that time and shit. So those years were crazy, man. And especially where I grew up at, man. We had 18th Street, Carnales, Florence, South Lows and shit like that.
Yeah.
The trip is when I soldiered up and shit, I got to where the neighborhood was at, was where I was up. So a lot of people don't know that I was a Crip and shit.
Yeah. I mean, we keep these things on the hush, but yeah.
I'm old enough to this and that, but that's how I grew up and shit,
Right.
And I had a lot of folks in my ear and shit about hey, what's going to happen when you get locked up and shit. Because that was eventually what we were all supposed to,
right.
It's like going to college and shit, right?
Right.
So it was a big issue. But me being who I was, knucklehead, man, goddamn. I told them when it happens and shit. They're like, well, you're going to find out and shit when you get in there and shit. So I took my chances with it and I just dealt with it that way and shit. But
yeah,
I still wouldn't change that experience or anything and shit, man, because where I grew up in the neighborhood, man, to this day, I hold it dear and shit, man.
Yeah, and that's a fact because you still display and you still treasure and show that a lot. You showcase your neighborhood. I love that because you walk it and you talk it, Cisco. It's so rare, bro.
Yeah.
It's so rare, bro.
I was talking to LV and shit, right?
Yeah.
Gangster Paradise.
Yeah, that exactly. For y'all who don't know who LV is,
I remember me and my brother, my sister too, were kids and shit, like in the late 70s.
Word.
There used to be this band rocking in the alley garage and shit, and Brick House was the shit. They used to just sing back. So that's how I learned Brick House when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So years later, man, it was like last year or something like that. I was talking to LV, we were hanging out and shit. I said, yo, man, when I grew up and shit, man, when I was growing up and shit, I think it was late 70s, man, that there used to be this band at the alley right there and shit.
Yeah.
He like, that was me and my group. I said, that was you? He goes, wow. So I've been knowing LV since, since, like I said, musically the same.
Musically forever, even
70s
more,
and
right?
shit, man. And growing up around there, I used to see him all around. He used to have concerts at the park at Green Meadows and shit. That's the neighborhood Luther and shit, right? Yeah. So he was dope and shit. And of course, I grew up with my mans and shit, South Central Cartel and shit. They're from the neighborhood right there too and shit.
Legends, yes.
And I've been knowing these folks for years, man. And if I could write it down, man, my experience, and if I could visually show you guys what everything looked like, man, that would be amazing to me. So I
feel like, honestly, if anybody does give folks like a real visual trip down that, I see you do it, man.
Yeah.
You take pictures of regular folks in regular environments, but they look cinematic. They look, they look special, man. It's a big fact, dude. It's something that I know. This is why you were pursued, man. It's because whenever you lend yourself to a subject, you really take that subject somewhere, man. I love the ones where you show your boys, man, that you grew up with, and the diner that y'all used to grub at. You know what I mean? And these simple portraits, fucking powerful, man.
And those are my intentions to immortalize a lot of shit that I see in these moments.
Yeah,
like I said, when I'm dead and gone and shit, go through my files, go through my negatives.
Nah, man, we need to print up all your photo series, man. No, really, man. I know that I have seen that printing up a book like through Amazon,
right,
or something like that's hella pop. We need to get some of these books of you done. Folks need them on their coffee tables, man. We need to get you a New York Times best-selling, man. You know what I mean? Like for real, man. I mean, it's way too dope, man. Everybody that you take a photo of is out there immortalizing themselves off that lens, man. So, I believe that really just shows how much your art is appreciated. You know what I mean? And really, your flowers are definitely coming to you. I hope you see them in real time.
I can appreciate it too from just individuals themselves and shit. If one person hit me up talking about, I really appreciate how you captured me that day because that's what I was feeling. I think that would be enough for me.
I mean, bro, you done my family portrait.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you've done my family portraits, bro. I have seen you do like ridiculous stuff, bro. Think about that image that you took a search on that day that we got the image with Pops from that other photographer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, my wife showed me that frame today because we've been putting up frames in the crib, and she was like, "Yo, look at this."
That was a special moment too, man.
Yeah, because that place is no longer there too.
That's a trip.
You know what I mean? Like, as it was, it will come back, but it will never be what it was that moment.
I wasn't that big of a 6th Street Bridge photography because a lot of people use that space
that vessel.
for that.
Yeah,
for
that
that,
vessel. Yeah. You're right. I mean, shit, where you showed that one picture the other day, I saw that.
Oh yeah.
You know, now that's Kendrick and TDE in that exact same spot filmed one of the videos for one of his joints. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you know what I mean? They caught it right before as well.
Right.
It's amazing. You know, it's amazing, man.
It's amazing how landscapes background affect how I shoot somebody. We were talking earlier. I have issues shooting at a beach. It's too wide open for me and shit. I need textures and shit.
I hear you.
I need textures and shit. And honestly, growing up, man, when I was a kid, I actually saw, when I was at the street corner, I captured that moment in my head and shit. I didn't know what I was doing, but I always knew I dug the aesthetics of that vintage shit, what South Central was and shit back then.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm trying to make shit look like that, but it's just that it's ingrained in me when I see these walls and these street signs that have fingerprints, man, that have scars, you know, and they also tell a story. So combined with putting someone in front of that, it really hits me, man. So it's an emotional moment for me. I might not shed a tear while I'm doing it, but trust me, I really dig it and shit, man.
Hey, but that picture gonna make your ass cry. Yeah.
And to me personally,
Now, okay, about the beach, you know, it makes me think something interesting. Okay, so per se, a beach landscape is not so attractive, but like say something where it's like a short beach, a mountain range, and something like that. It perhaps lends to like a better, you know, because you know what this tells me. We gotta do something at the beach, bro, because we gotta break this motherfucking thing.
No. Here it is. I have a memory of the beach when we were kids in the 80s, going to Long Beach with my parents and shit.
Yeah.
And that's as far as it goes. I'm not a beach person and shit.
I hear you.
I mean, yeah, the sand, the water. You won't find me swimming in the beach, man.
Yeah.
A seaweed touch me when I'm running out. I'm walking out. I'm Jesus and shit. I'm walking on water.
I'm floating on this motherfucker.
I don't care. Something touches me in the beach.
Yeah.
As a kid, I seen Jaws, man, when it first came out.
Yeah.
I seen Piranha when it came. So water, to me, I don't touch it.
I see you. No. I hear you.
So the fact that the beach is in my environment.
The snow ain't mine.
Yeah. Oh shit, I hate the snow. I got bad experiences with the snow, but
I avoid that shit like COVID, baby. Like
those environments that I wasn't too much fully connected with, they don't bring nothing to me, shit like that.
Yeah.
The concrete jungle. I mean, I'm not just I'm trying to be a roughneck and shit from the streets and not being all hood and shit like that.
It's your environment, man. I think it's natural to every person.
Look, man, when I was a kid, I'll tell you, like I used to snap in my head and shit.
Yeah.
Say, for instance, I either have a food stamp or $1 in my hand and she going to the store and shit, right?
Right.
Every time I walked out the house in the summertime, I could feel the sun on me, man, and I love the hood for that. And back in the days, there's old black cat on the corner drinking wine and shit.
Yeah.
He stayed in an apartment right there, and his name was Spook. So when you'd walk up, you go, "Hey, Spook," and you say the same back to him and shit. Along with that vision, there was always the song that stayed in my head that he was always there and shit when I was a kid was Stevie Wonder, Boogie on the Reggae Woman and shit.
Whoa.
And that was my theme music walking to the store.
Walking music?
Yeah.
Yo, damn. I'm a big Stevie fan. I know that record. I love that record. Honestly, Songs in the Key of Life.
Oh,
man,
my
that's probably like my Stevie album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, like, okay, my walking one was Liquid Swords.
Oh, shit. All right.
Liquid Swords
Yeah.
and Baduism.
Shit.
I could, yo, and I won't even get into Mama's Gun. I think I walked all of Hollywood once listening to Mama's Gun like that.
And music was important, and because it made me see shit different and shit.
That's beautiful.
Back in the days in the neighborhood, it was Stevie Wonder. It was War. War was on a lot and shit. And say for instance, later on it was Zap that you could always hear in the
That's a really dope environment of sound happening.
Man, sound is so
like,
important, man.
You know,
People get tired of music all day long and shit. I don't, man. I could hear it.
you know why? I think because the flood is so much visual and auditory.
Yeah.
Where when we were younger, we didn't have a device that had visual, just auditory.
Right.
So I think we just used to be more drawn to that. Whereas now, you watching videos on
Yeah.
YouTube all day, right? And I think that takes up that energy. You know, that mind.
Yeah, I think
you
so.
know, like
I
that,
think so.
all of that is absorbed now by
I mean,
both.
trust me, we were video kids too in the late '80s and shit. We had the
Right,
box.
because you had the box, you had
Yeah.
MTV and all of that, but you know, you
Yeah.
couldn't carry it in your pocket.
Right.
You had your Walkman though, right? Or you were bumping in the whip.
I couldn't wear Walkmans back then because pops would get mad. You have to be fully active when you're in the streets.
You
Fully aware of what's going on and shit.
and
And
see, man,
that,
pops. That's, man. Nah, man. I mean, you know, it's funny. It's like you don't wear no sandals out.
Oh, you know I don't wear sandals and shit.
yeah,
Man.
yeah. I know, and I got, you know, it's
Yeah.
funny, like, because for a moment, your boy's a cozy boy, so I've
Yeah.
been going a little too light on it. But you know, I ain't out there like that. But
Man.
you know, some of my older, even some
Yeah.
of my older homies and some of my old heads and my elders, you know, they'll be like, "Fuck you wearing sandals for?" They'll be like, "Man, I told you about wearing fucking sandals."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, but it's real. It's
Yeah.
like, yo, you got to stay ready.
Man, back then, even though sagging was around and shit like that in the late '80s and shit, even mid '80s and shit, when it really started coming out,
Right.
we the group of partners where I was out and shit, and when we used to gather in the morning before we go to school and shit, make sure your shoelaces are tied, your belt is tight, that you can split your legs in your pants, because it's active out there and fight or flight, man.
Moment's notice,
If,
it could-
if
yeah.
you outgunned, you got to jump fences. You got to do, and how you gonna do that shit in slippers? So it's a different era and shit where people are comfortable. Even like when Run DMC came out with the shoelaces that weren't even tied. I'm like, I said, nah, that ain't not in LA.
Yeah, that's jive. I'm not doing that.
Nah, man. I can
And
see
they
them-
couldn't understand why the Cortezes are laced up. Like, why
Yeah,
are gangsters
tight.
wearing running shoes?
I
yeah.
never wore Cortez, man, but I could understand because they're pointy, and when you need to hit in the fence,
You scared.
man, look, that's
Who's
how-
going wild right now?
Yeah,
I'll be like, you don't know.
that's how we seen shit though, man.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
was always have to be ready for battle and shit. You had your war suit on and shit, man, your uniform, but it was actually dope, man. I mean,
It's quite an era.
it was, man. I love that era. Then hip hop was, oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, we used to listen to Ice-T, you know, Easy.
Yeah, LA shit, definitely.
When Daylock
Man, that's when I became aware of
fucked my head up, man.
3 Feet High and Rising. Yeah, man.
Because nobody really listened to East Coast shit back in the days.
Right,
Run DMC LL was the exception and shit, right?
Right.
In the hood.
right.
But it was when hip hop hit like that, it fucking blew me. And then when Tribe came out,
Man.
I was
Yeah, I know.
fucked.
Native Tongues.
Oh,
it
God.
changed shit.
Yeah.
Big time. Like, it changed
For me, it did, man.
out here, especially because it's like, you know, when I grew up, the Bay, right, and whatever popular shit was out there hit me
Yeah.
right before Snoop and Dre,
Right.
you know? And then somehow in that mix, I don't even know how the fuck it happened, some UGK fell my way.
Right.
And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the music was amazing. Like, shit, I remember Public Enemy, you know,
Oh,
when Fight the Power came out.
yeah.
But I don't remember, like, I could say I
do.
did.
I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the one I can't say I can. But let's talk about, like, Low End Theory from Tribe.
Right.
On. That shit is
I was,
crazy to have been experiencing all those videos and everything, and like when Stakes is High dropped.
Oh shit!
That was a moment for me, man. That's a big album.
I was at the tattoo shop rapping to some cats and shit. Music came on and shit, right?
Yeah.
Which is from my era and shit, right? I'm like, how do you even cope with the known sense, the reality that you weren't even born when this shit came out? When I think about it,
That's
man.
how I feel about 70s and 60s
yeah.
music, because sometimes you feel hella connected to shit
Right,
you're not from the era from at all.
Man, being connected, hell, because my household Pops was heavy into Al Green like a motherfucker. That was his shit, right? I remember me and Pops going in Sonala in his 71 Cadillac Coupe de Ville and shit, white walls and whatnot, right? Me and him.
God damn, for real, man.
Yeah.
Pops, we need to make a movie on. You
Pops is
need
OG.
to write a book about Pops,
Look,
man. Like, man.
I remember one time I was in high school and shit. I was at Fremont and shit, right?
Yeah.
I came home with and I laid on the couch. I laid in my bedroom and shit. I laid down and shit. And he comes up, like, get up, we're leaving and shit. Fuck, I said, where we going? And we're going to Sonala and shit, right? That was the spot.
All right.
And the car ride, man, he had a little box of tapes, and every fucking cassette was Al Green, and we went through the whole shit. So,
Damn.
but he noticed how I was and how I was laying down and shit. So we're in the car, and he goes, turns it down just a little bit, and he goes, the fuck you doing? I'm like, what do you mean, Pops? He goes, look at you, man, you're fucked up, you know. And Pops got at me like that, and he goes, man, look, I could tell you better stories than what you just did, but you know, he goes, I understand. So the thing was, after we got there, man, that whole conversation, and even the quiet, just digging Al Green and
That's
shit,
a
man.
2-hour ride, too.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
And me and him, once we got there and shit, it was all dandy and shit, man. Like, once you cross that border, Pops was a whole different cat.
Yeah.
Man,
You told me he loved the
Yeah.
other side. I
Yeah.
love it, too, man. Baja is...
Man, and partner used to go. My partner Jack. I think you met Jack.
Yeah.
We used to be 16. He was like 14. I was like 2 years older than him and shit. We used to go to Ensenada, man, and you have $10 just straight. This is back in the 80s, man. So we used to buy like a quart of fucking Pacifico and shit for like 50 cents. You know, so off of $10, we're drinking all day and shit. And
you are living life down there.
man, and
Penny change, man.
I remember Pops caught it. I was 16.
Yeah.
At a strip joint, because my cousins had clout up there and shit, right?
Okay.
They were in politics and shit like that. So
Yeah.
we was out there and shit. I'm at the joint looking at these women, which were older women probably at that time, and shit, you know, at the strip joint.
Probably, right? You already know.
And I get a tap. I'm like, he goes, oh shit, Pop. I'm like, hey, you good? I'm like, yeah. He goes, you need anything? I said, well, I'm
a little tapped, you know?
Tapped out and shit. I'll pop the kick down and shit, man. He can kick down like $30-something and shit. And he goes, all right, man, I'm gonna go up with my home with and shit. I'm out. He goes, all right, because you came with your crew, I'm with my crew and shit. So you can take out. And that was a trip, man. But
how dope was that though? And you know what I love, man? I think as long as I knew you, Pops was like usually just one tick away.
Pops was so close to me, man.
Yeah, and he was always like at shoots. He was always involved.
Hey.
Like, and I loved how quietly powerful Pops was.
Everybody
if there
told me
was
that.
one thing I could tell you that even now resonates in his presence was that, man.
Pops kept it too real, man. Where
he was a good dude.
He didn't need to impress nobody and shit, but also he loved conversation and shit. He loved hanging out, having a beer with folks, man. And me and Pops used to get into these dope ass conversations, man, till we would sit back and play records at my house. And I used to go pick him up and say, Pops, spend the weekend at the pad. He already knew.
Yeah.
Before we got to the house, we always hit the goddamn market and we pick up shit for salsa. We pick up meat and then we'd cook, hanging out and shit. My daughter would be involved, my son and shit. And then they start staggering out. Me and Pops would hang until like 3 a.m, listening to records and just fucking sipping, man. Yeah. And we had the relationship that me and Pops had, man. I wish everybody could rap like that to they Pops.
Right. And how much it really matters.
How
to
much
have
it really
a father.
matters, yeah.
Like to really have a father.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, some are blessed to have that, and they don't understand how rare it is.
Yeah.
Some don't, you know.
Pops wanted me to get into graffiti and DJing way back in the days, man. He bought us speaker sets and shit. This is what I'm talking about in the 80s.
He pushed the arts a lot.
He pushed the art
a lot
and
on y'all.
He gave us space in his garage and shit, right? I think this might have been like I was in junior high, man. And he's like, "Hey, here's this wall right here in his garage. Hit up whatever you want." And then me and him are sitting back and shit. And then he's like, "Put something up for me and shit." And we came up with King 48 because he was born in 48.
Okay.
And I remember this tag I did, man, when I was a kid and shit. And still to this day, I want to push out a shirt that says King 48. Everybody's gonna know who the fuck is that?
Nah, do it, yo.
It meant a lot to me though, man. But yeah, that's cool, man.
That's fresh. That's super fresh, man. I love that. I love that. Yo, so let me ask you something. Like,
Go ahead, brother.
you know, with everything going on nowadays, what is the next project in mind for you? What's coming next?
Well,
Like,
me right now, I'm because I am a freelance artist at this point.
Yeah.
So I've been really busy pushing other people's stuff.
okay.
Actually producing before they even push out a lot of stuff. I've been dealing with my man's Prodigy from South Central Cartel. I've got some shit that I'm gonna do with LV. I got my brother and shit, Cornbread from Cali Wild and shit.
Yeah.
I'm working with him all the time, and these people stay consistent in the shit that I'm doing for them. My homie from Ink Fellas Tattoo, Richie and shit. Dope ass. If there's a cat that's really about pushing people and helping people out, this motherfucker's got a heart, man. It's amazing and shit, right? I dig this cat, and I've been knowing him over a year or so and shit, man. But we've connected pretty good and shit. And I work with him a lot, and I always stop at a tattoo shop just to hang out because bars are closed.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Brother, come through and just hang out, have a beer."
It's an environment.
Yeah,
It's
it's
you
an
can
environment
still chill
to-
out
yeah,
and
get to
everything.
chill
and
out,
rap, pretty much.
But
yeah.
I like to give much props to him because my man's really got a heart on him and shit, man.
Yeah.
Really does.
And I seen y'all working, man.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
that's really dope. I like the photos that you've taken of some of his subjects and his clients and
Yeah,
stuff. It's
man.
really dope, man. Yeah.
And there's about 5 people that I work with because I also push ink and shit, right?
yeah.
The thing is, I'm not a print shop. It's solely for people that I know because I don't want to have that business environment when we're doing shit.
Right.
But I do it to help them out, and they help me out too because it's a consistent flow of cash that's coming in.
Yeah.
It might not be the biggest amount, but it keeps me, it helps me handle some business and shit.
Right.
I also have my shit aside, so I haven't been able to push out my shirts like I wanted because I got an idea for short shirts of my prints.
Yeah.
And I'm also selling prints too of my photography and shit without advertising right now. And shit.
Which that's right there is exactly what you're seeing right here, which are 3 amazing prints of many. Now, yo, basically, so if somebody who's watching and is like, damn, I want to get some of this work that we're showing, they can basically pick one of the photos and say, hey, I'd like a print of that.
Right.
Right?
They could hit me up. They contact me and shit. I'm currently, I've been working on his website for a minute because I'm not that savvy on it.
Yeah,
and shit.
and man, look at me. We're gonna get you that website.
Oh,
Don't
man.
worry about that. Nah, man. Come on.
I already bought the domain name. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So
okay.
I want to get that started so people can hit me up and purchase the artwork that I have or either the shirts.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty much self-sufficient with a lot of shit that I do there.
Yes, you are. I mean, dude, you've had your shop, your soulful situation now as long as I've known you.
Yeah.
You used to hold jam sessions and
Man.
salsa sessions.
Man.
People
They don't.
folks don't know, man. You brought culture out there,
Yeah,
man.
I was doing that. I think I started like in 2002 and shit when I moved up there.
Yo, folks don't even know. Where do you stay at right now?
I'm in Hesperia, man.
Exactly. Hesperia, California, which is how far from Los Angeles?
It's about an hour and 20 minutes and shit without traffic.
Which is about 100.
No, it's to and fro. It's like 100, 110, 120.
120
It's
miles?
60 something miles away and shit.
Exactly. And yet you come out here constantly and you create. You come
Man,
out here all the time. And I mean, when you were doing the street corner photography
Right,
sessions,
right.
man, you was out here daily almost, man.
Man, look, I give my time to it because I really dig doing that. Like I said, I do it for free. But don't come hit me up for free shit.
Big fucking facts. Big fucking facts.
No, but I do collaborate with a lot of people though, man. Just on the strength of how I respect them, and so I do that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of artists that I'm working with that I really dig. There's my homegirl Cipatli, dope MC. I want to work again with Kiddo. Kiddo, you're dope.
Hey, killer. Hey, dog,
yeah.
killers though.
I've been
She
digging
knows
her.
what's good.
I've been digging her for some years, man. And when I heard her stuff, I'm like, wow, she has just started and shit, man. So I
Yeah.
love how she's progressed, and she's such a dope person and shit.
Yep.
Man, I got other folks I've been working with, man, that I really dig and shit. But those two just to call some out and shit. But I've
Definitely. I mean, females are doing their thing right now, man.
man, and it's the era for that, man. And I love my brown folks for really coming strong. The young, the youth,
Yeah,
they're
man.
they're
Like,
really pushing that, man. And me, I'm about brown business a lot, you know.
of course, and it's beautiful to see that people are in the space of ownership now too. You know,
That's why you won't see me in no Denny's and shit like that. I'm supporting brown business, and most likely you making tacos and shit.
yeah, that's right. Hey, shit. Hey, matter of fact, I got a spot, man.
Okay, we gonna get on
Yeah,
that.
you know what's fucked up? I had a taco man right at the corner of my block. Okay, this dude was serving that shit, right? And this shit was a marvelous situation. Most fucked up shit in life. Somebody that used to work for him was sour over some shit that had nothing to do with the food, nothing to do with anything, right?
Right.
And I was out of spite, started calling the health department constantly on him. Yo, they got him shut down.
Yeah,
Okay,
man, we-
they got him shut
Yeah.
down. It was probably the dopest. It was like going to Mexico. You know how like they got their little restaurant in the casa, you know, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like and they really serving it up.
If you think they dirty, don't go there.
You know,
that's
and-
about it. Keep your. But if we take our chances with food and shit like that, we do eat it out of
Yeah,
thing, but
it's like it's
it's your
sad though
option.
when people do it out of
yeah,
spite
out
though.
of spite, man.
Like
Don't even know
when
they
that has
can.
to do with the food, you know what I mean? It's like, but yo, them tacos were
but-
smacking.
but-
I want them to come back so you can have some.
Okay, we're gonna do that, man.
know,
You know,
like-
I never turned down a taco and a beer, man. 'Cause I added beer in there and shit.
Yeah. Hey, now,
man.
hey, well, let me ask you something.
What's
As,
that?
you are a taco connoisseur, in my opinion.
Yes.
What are your top 3 tacos in LA?
I'm gonna say, which is a good spot, man. It's run by a couple ladies and shit. It's in Boyle Heights. It's called La Barbacha and shit. I haven't been there in a minute, but man, you get to this spot and you order like, say for instance, 4 tacos and some beer and shit,
Yeah.
and they come give you the precursor to this shit, which is they would give you a bowl of fideo and shit.
What?
Just for you waiting for your tacos and shit, man. And they'd give you either 2 or 3 sauces and shit, man. And this motherfucker was no joke, brother.
Bowl of fideo, man.
Yeah,
That's
it takes me back
down
to my.
home shit.
It takes
yeah.
me back to my nana and shit, you know. 'Cause
Yeah.
I haven't had fideo. I hadn't had fideo in years and shit. But I say La Barbacha, which is like one of my number one spots because they're actually really cool, and I love supporting brown women too.
That's right.
And they were down and shit though, man. And this is another joint, man. I can't even call them and shit, man. Yeah, I'm not gonna say nothing wrong, so I'm gonna leave it alone and shit at that. But
Yeah.
I do dig my brown people out there working. Man.
I
love
like
that.
that you have one though. I
Yeah.
know it's tough. You know,
Yeah.
like it's funny for me. I could tell you a few, but like so many of them fell off, unfortunately.
right,
you
right,
know,
because of the situation and shit.
well, there's that, and there's just like some of them now are too popular. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, like so. I'm not gonna say nothing good or bad about them, but I will say that like some of the most classic spots, they kind of gone. But I'm so happy that I constantly find somebody who's either taking the Baja type of taco and bringing it over here.
Yeah.
Or they're doing, like tacos árabes, like for real.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's where it began and shit.
I love it when they do it like that real style where it's not like too overjuiced.
Right.
It's kind of like the spice rub more than anything.
and
you know?
it's a trip how tacos have become the biggest food in the world and shit.
I mean, how could they?
How could it not?
A gyro to me is just a big ass taco. You feel me? Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Well, we're about to get out of here, Cisco. If there's something that you would like a young aspiring photographer to know, what would it be?
Try not to impress anybody with your shit. Do it out of your soul, man. Capture what means something to you. It's the same thing I think about music and shit. When you're trying to make music for an audience and shit, you're not delving in yourself unless you're really into that shit.
Yeah.
But do it out of self and shit. Don't have anybody tell you, oh, you need to take pictures of this and you need to be this style and shit.
Right.
Because it's not gonna come out right and shit. You're doing an interpretation of shit that what better than it is to be yourself while you're doing it and shit. Know your tool. Know your tool and be honest with yourself and what you're putting out. Have your voice without somebody else pulling the strings on your artwork and shit.
That's right.
Be real to folks. Remember, art is to be seen. Don't just keep it locked up. Share that shit because it might hit somebody else different. Because we're always touching people with that. Be active. Aside from the situations going hand in hand and shit, but be active in your art and
Find ways.
find ways to
I hear you on that.
and be creative with yourself too, and really put yourself in it, because I really love what I do and shit, man. There's not a day go by that I don't carry this thing with me or even think about something about it. I love to rap about it and all the shit.
Always on your side. That is a fact. Yes.
And that's it, man. And share your shit and connect with people that are like minded and shit. Have community. Community is important in art. You can't be a solo. I mean, you can be a solo artist, but still have people that can give you input.
Right.
But don't let input alter your route to where you're going with your art and shit.
Yeah, I hear that.
And again, for me, is be selective with your lens too. Don't be the Kmart where everybody's coming in and just sitting down in the same spot.
And that definitely applies not only to the lens, that applies to the mic, that applies to the pen, that applies to everything. Like, be selective. Value yourself.
Right.
See, I like that.
And work on your right cross, because motherfuckers.
Whoa, boy!
I tell folks,
Work on your right cross and don't try to overreach on the handshake, y'all.
Exactly.
Females too.
Yeah, don't try to overreach on the handshake, and that's an important part.
Yeah,
hands are important. We at a point before COVID and shit, embrace was, to me, is important and shit, and how we embrace each other, and the connection through a handshake. We measure ourselves. We gauge other people by that.
Right.
So, I mean, it just doesn't have to be the streets teaching that, but it was a survival tactic.
Yeah.
That we use and shit to gauge people, because we had to see your character without even talking to you at a point and shit.
Right. Right.
Your demeanor and shit like that. But you love your art, be active with it, stay on point, and stay hydrated, folks.
Definitely stay hydrated. Because do remember, Cisco love the kids.
Cisco loves the kids, yo.
Damn right. It has been a fantastic day here. I'm very happy that we were able to get together, walk the town, and chop it up, man. We do this already off camera. It's dope that folks get to know a little bit about the man behind the lens that does so much beauty for so many folks out here, man. So we appreciate you, Cisco. Where can people find you on social media? Can you give them all the ads, please?
Well, the thing is Streetlenz 72 and shit. Get on there. My Cisco Streetlenz. I get a little bit more active because of family pictures and shit like that, but most of my work is on Streetlenz 72 IG.
Okay, Streetlenz 72 is the IG. Okay,
and I'm always willing to rap to folks and shit. Get at me, and
just come correct.
Ask questions if you like and shit. I'll post a thing or two every so often and shit.
That's right.
Much love to everybody, though.
Yeah, most definitely.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you most definitely for joining us today on a day where we are, just here, me and my man, Pawz. We love you. We'll see you next week.
I'm going to get with you, Pawz.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, that's funny. Well, on a very last note, man, how dope was it that even when, when the Shaw era came up, man.
Oh, yeah.
That was all you, brother. You were the first and pretty much the only photographer I had up in there.
I got a photo of Pawz on the phone booth and shit way back in the day.
That one, I remember, some other one with him holding the chain, you know what I'm saying, looking ferocious. Yo, you took that one side profile of mine. I still use that shit. That shit is dope. Well, you know what? We should probably make that into something. Since you be printing, I think we're always talking about something to collaborate on.
This collaborate. I'm ready to work all the time and shit, brother.
Yeah, man. As always, it is a pleasure, my man, to see you.
And hopefully we'll be back. And,
you got to slide by with some stories, because there's too many stories y'all ain't even heard. Man. Today we just touched on a little bit of this and a little bit of that,
but I'd like for them to ask questions.
I'm telling you, These Hands is an amazing series. Yes, that is a fact. That is a fact.
Oh, that's my sister right there, Deanna and shit.
Hey, that's
Love
right.
You, sis.
Hey, that's right. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, man. It's as always, it is a wave. We love you. We appreciate you. Pawz One Podcast. It's a wrap, y'all.
It's a wrap, y'all.
Yes, sir. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.